What you see here is the overview page of the clients. Like with the other pages, you see here in the menu, you can navigate toward it from clients and then overview. In this overview page, you have a couple of functionalities you can do. Some of them I will show a little bit later. But what's good to know is when you see this square on the side, you can actually show and hide more columns. So if the user is created, for example, with a company name or a phone number, you can also check these options here, and then you will see them in the overall overview. And the other arrow on the side can be used to export the current table you see here. So if you say like, okay, I want this table and I want to use it for something else, you can click on export and it will create an Excel sheet, for example, of your current client table. Now we will add a new client by clicking here on this button. So when you create a new client, you can leave a couple of information, but what you see here, when the label has an asterisk, that means this field is mandatory. All the other fields are optional. So for example, I will type here now demo 2. I call it again user. This information, I leave it as it is because it's not required to do. Well, as a test, I will type here, I type Microsoft. Microsoft. You can set here the length of the client, the goal of the client, for example, losing weight or something like it. And then here below, we can actually add sport plans to this client, like directly. You can do something similar in the plans page as well. Like when you see the video about sport plans, you will see it's also possible to add a client directly on a sport plan, but it's also possible the other way around, that you go to a client and you add sport plans. And you can even do it by category. So if I search here now on, for example, HIIT, I get like the HIIT plans. So I click on HIIT 1, and I can here add plans one by one. But if I go here to category and I search, for example, on general body, and I click here, it adds automatically all the sport plans that belong to the category general body. So this way you can choose a bit how you want to do it. Now here you can specify the sets and repeats per sport plan. So we have the free choice option. That means the client can add them himself. But we also have the possibility to generate new ones. So here you see sets and repeat. And when I click on it, you can add here your own sets and repeat. So say, okay, when a client is doing this sport plan, he needs to do this plan once by 12, or let's say twice 10, or 3 times 10. Well, that's a good example for now. And then what you can do is you can also say, okay, when you give this set to a customer to do exercises from home, you can already specify here like how often the client has to do this. And then they know, okay, I get my sport plan, I have to do all these exercises twice in sets of 10. So that's an example, but you can also say it's a free choice, and then the customer himself can decide like, okay, I'm going to do this sport plan, and then he can choose one of these. Or you can do none, and then it's just like a paper plan with no extra information where they just see the exercises. Then here on top, you have something that says sport plan finished, also with a question mark, which will explain what it does. So it automates the following action once a client has completed its sport plan. So what you can do here is you can say the moment the client finishes his sport plan, and for example, we have specified 10 times or 2 times 10, and I say, okay, get the next set and repetitions. The moment the client hits one, it will automatically, the next time when the client opens it, select this one. And this way you can automate the sets and repeats. It automatically takes the next one and the next one. But you can also do it reversed, so that it actually goes one back. So you can say, okay, I give a heavy sets and repeat, and every day I'll make it a little bit lighter until the end of the week. So you make for example 5, and from a Monday it's heavy, Tuesday it gets lighter, Wednesday, Thursday it gets lighter, and on Friday it's very light. And then the next Monday it starts again from the top, so it's heavier. So like this you can decide a bit how you want the stream or the flow to go. But you can also make it random, and then it will just randomly grab one and set it on the sport plan. So click now on the next one. Then here you can set if this account is active or inactive. Well, it's an active account. And if the client can do his exercises from home. And you can only say yes here if you actually have a license to do this. So what you see on the dashboard, you will see there is like an overview with how many licenses you have to do exercises from home. And based on the exercise, based on this license, you can say yes or no. And we specify an email. Well, I'm going to specify our company email. I generate a password, and here I can set an end date. So if you, for example, let a customer pay for 2 months to use this functionality, and you forgot to disable the customer afterwards, you can already specify here the end date to make sure that after the 2 months, even if you forget, the customer can't log in again and they will contact you, for example, and you can renew the license. Then here you have an option to send an email. So the moment you generate this account, it actually also sends this password toward the client so they know how to log in the system and how to use it. Now here on the top, we have a couple more options. So we can leave a note for the user. So the moment the user logs in, on the side they will see a welcome note, for example, or a motivational note. So for example, we say like a small welcome note. Then you can specify if you have multiple trainers in your company or in your studio and you want to somehow select a trainer per client, you can add here new trainers and add them to the client. It doesn't add any extra value except that a trainer can go, for example, to the logbook here, click on his own name, and then he only sees the messages from his clients and not from the other clients. So it's kind of to make an extra filter in the logbook. And then we have automatic reminders. We always say a program should notify you when something happened and not you have to go in the program every time to see if you have to do an action. So it should trigger you. That's why when a customer leaves feedback at the end of the day, after they finish a sport plan, for example, you will receive a summary of all the feedback in your email. But the same is with this, like we can track if a customer actually did his sport exercises. So what you can do here is you can say, okay, this customer should do his exercises on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if the customer did not do that, then the next day they will receive an email if you put email the client on yes. But you as a studio can also receive an email. So if you have a customer who really needs to lose weight and you want to make sure that he or she does his exercises, you can also decide to email yourself a reminder that this customer did not do his exercises. So you can actually contact the customer and ask him like, why didn't you do it? Or motivate him like, please do your exercises to stay fit. So you can do this per day, but you can also do this weekly. And then you can just say, okay, a customer has to do his exercises 2 days a week, but it doesn't really matter when. So then in this case, you can just define like, okay, well, the customer has to do his exercises 3 days a week, so every second day. And by this, the system will just calculate itself within the week how often a customer came and if it matches the number. So now we click on save, and then we're going to go to the email the customer will receive. What you just saw here on the right top when I click on save is that there are already other accounts associated with this email. That's because this email address needs to be unique per client because the client logs in with this email address. So what you saw in this case is that there is actually already a client with this email address. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of our other email addresses and use this to receive an email. So now what you see here is you see the username, you see the password, and you also see here a huge login button, or actually the URL we can use to go toward the system and to log in. So we're going to do that now. I select my email and the password. And now when we log in here, we will see the welcome note we left. We see our sport planning, so 3 times a week. And we see here all the sport plans connected to this user we just created. Now if we go here and we say, okay, we finished the schedule, say, went well, we did it 5 times, for example, we go back, then we actually see here in the logbook, here, that we just finished the Spark plan and that it went well. So that's so far how the client pages work and what you can do with it. And if you have more questions, just contact us and we will help you further.